2019, the world lost something truly amazing. Support for Garden Warfare 2 was binned in favour of future projects, the new classes, never to get, etc. and so forth. The game lost support despite all of the potential it still had and the interest surrounding it. I mean, the community surrounding the Plants vs Zombies games in general is something else. There is still a very clear interest and passion in these games. Case in point, the modding scene. So when a creator of a mod with a very daring and bold mission statement asks me to check it out, I'm more than interested. This is Project Visionary. So to quote the mod's description, Project Visionary is a mod which aims to bring back the feeling of when Garden Warfare 2 was supported by PopCap. Very bold, so the only question that is left is, does it deliver? Absolutely. I mean, immediately jumping in, you can notice some very small changes, but ones that add a lot to the overall feel. The dev cared enough to put Halloween decorations in the October update, which is really fun. Private play now features an interesting selection of characters. Picking the plant or zombie attack team comps make all the character variants unique. One step towards making private play a viable alternative to online, as when using mods, it's off limits, and for good reason. The highlight here though are of course those new variants. We have the obvious, Toxic Soldier, Fire Citron, Electric Imp, the elemental variants that PopCap didn't give us. But I was not prepared for the gnomish flowers, the future pea shooters, and the roses that make goats from vanquished enemies. Like, excuse me sir, what? The creativity here is insane, and the charm is still very much intact. The gnomish flower is very much my all-time favourite, despite there being a really fun SB in this mod. It's that blue and gold, that gnomish grandeur that PopCap captures in the look and feel of the gnomes is perfectly translated here, which is truly something. This character is also legendary, casting a healing aura when activated. Very apt for a sunflower. Did I mention its attack is the same as the gnome floaties? This character is fantastic, and you cannot change my mind. How about a gold chomper? Pretty. Except sorry, this one is exclusive to Rux's Ultimate Bundle. Available now from your respective stores. Also, you know that Electric Imp from moments ago? Yeah, well, its mech is a Giga Gargantua because why not? A camo corn. Honestly, this guy, he speaks for himself. This guy is absolutely busted. Did I hear a sunflower that can turn into cosmic energy upon killing someone? Because that's what I heard. Oh my. Oh my. Ring ring. What's this? An unreleased build? My sir, there is only so much talent I can observe before my mind collapses. So I've just been sent an unreleased test build for the next version of this mod. Literally just as I was about to sit down and edit the gameplay I just had. My plea for mercy will go unanswered, because the necromancer scientist has entered the building. This guy can reanimate plants that you've killed. Like, PopCap, are you taking notes? Oh my god, it should have been a playable robo-zombie. That's finally playable! Oh my god. Oh god, this is a dream come true. Alright, so they took the wizard from BFN and made him an engineer. I guess in fantasy terms, a wizard is just a mystical engineer. That's cute. I get the reference. Finally. You may have eluded me, but now, you're mine. Shark Chomper. As is tradition for this game, you need to have an excessive amount of Chomper variants. It's just, those are the rules. Wait, hold on. What's this? Oh my god. This is beautiful. Honestly, I could gush for hours. This mod is fantastic. The passion is clear to see. And as for whether they nailed the feeling of an official update, yeah, like I said before, they nailed it. I can very easily see it now. Garden Warfare 2, regrown. And if that happens, and the new things were just this mod, I wouldn't think twice. I think my immediate reaction to playing this put it best. This mod is fantastic for two reasons. First of all, it adds more content to the game that feels official, which is amazing. Second of all, the level of creativity that goes into some of these variants is absolutely insane. As I'm sure you're aware, Garden Warfare 2's follow-up didn't exactly, well, follow it up, which is what a lot of people point to as to why it didn't stick around. In retrospect, the issue isn't as black and white, but nonetheless, the game wasn't exactly what everyone hoped, and in this reality, a year was all it had to set its piece. A big shame as well, because for every 10 missteps it took, it had one truly amazing idea. The swarm characters, the single player, and some of the abilities. So what if that entire game was merely an update, and all the good ideas BFN had was allowed an appropriate environment to reach their full potential? Well, let's see if that is actually a good idea. This is Universe 109. Humans have 7 fingers and everything is a bit darker. A bit atmospheric, you know? Most importantly though, BFN didn't happen and was simply an update. Alright, so let's take a step back. Saying this is merely BFN in Garden Warfare 2 is a little disingenuous, as a lot of creativity on the side of the devs has been injected into this mod. Ideas, models and concepts have for sure been borrowed, but a unique spin has been placed onto them. Take for example Battle for Neighborville's most recognisable outfit, the Shogun Guard. In BFN it was basically Commando Corn, however Garden Warfare 2 already has one of those, so instead the Shogun Corn is basically the Tank Corn. It's been given infinite ammo and tank physics. The essence is there, but it's, for all intents and purposes, a brand new thing. This is a pretty decent outline of most of the new variants in this mod. BFN skin, new gimmick. Like this Easter pea shooter, I'm quite a fan of how this guy plays. Oh my god, going in. We of course have a bountiful crop of new chompers. Okay, why does this do so much damage? Sunflower also got a fair bit of love and an excellent choice of costumes, I must say. Astroflower, Hypnoflower. That's cool. On top of all of these new variants, the mod also includes changes to vanilla characters that are inspired by design cues from BFN. Like for example, health bars are now visible to all characters at all times. The slobber shot has been translated to Garden Warfare 2, Hyper has been altered, and the engineer has received a turret of some description. I mean, beyond the obvious things which we'll get into, there's a few kind of smaller changes. Like for example, they changed the Rux music, despite Rux not selling anything. My favourite change though is SB's new heroic kick. Oh, got this new heroic kick, if only this was in the game. It gives you some height as well as distance, so now you have so many more options when in a fight. Using it has been a lot of fun. To go along with this, we have a new variant, a fire variant, who does way too much fire damage. I can't believe this has like residual damage of like 6. The character is fun as hell though, and starts a trend of small meters. Basically a very short super meter that activates upon one kill, and will extend if you keep killing. An idea I wish vanilla legendaries had. It really encourages that hyper-aggressive play. If you can get a long streak together, it is very satisfying. Headlining this concept is the brand new set of variants, the Cyber variant. All-Star, Soldier, Citron and Pea Shooter are all treated to Cyber variants. On top of this new meter, the Cyber variants also deal lingering damage like a Toxic variant would, and of course all borrow outfits from BFN to excellent effect. This mod has amazing polish. Not directly borrowing anything from BFN, we have the Time Warper Imp, weaponizing the very journey I'm currently taking you on. This guy has 2 weapons, and getting a kill with one of them will turn you into the BFN Imp or the PvZ3 Imp respectively. This guy is literally the bridge between these games, a sort of meta character using the franchise's missteps to literally harm its opponents. This guy feels like the protagonist if this game were to have one. One of BFN's greatest ideas has been translated. The Swarm characters are back. The 2 characters feeling as great to play as ever. The way the Yeti and Dandelion were implemented opens the door to humour. Okay. Though it's still quite well done. These 2 are placed in the game so seamlessly, which is honestly a huge pro for this mod in general. Like, I keep talking about the level of polish, but honestly it's amazing. It really feels like I've hopped universes. It's kind of uncanny at points. But this mod has one final BFN addition that actually didn't make it into BFN. Something that was data mined after the game was canned. That being... Alright, now we're getting odd. The documentation of this could not be a simple section of a larger review. This needs the attention it deserves. Something so out there, something so odd. Let's just get into it. Before we head into Garden Warfare 2, let's talk about the context surrounding this quite odd addition. This isn't something that was born purely out of the minds of modders. This exact gnome was data mined from BFN, not just as the model used for the enemy gnomes, but was speculated to be for a different purpose. It's referred to as gnome tag, and is a fully modelled, fully animated, playable gnome that data miners were able to piece together. The Garden Warfare 2 adaptation is in essence what was pieced together, only using Garden Warfare 2 gnome shooty animations and sound effects. The original BFN one moved and sounded a little different, even complete with a sprinting animation. Here it's been translated. The gnome is complete with a warp, bomb, and slam abilities, each representing what was discovered on the BFN gnome tag character. This BFN gnome's abilities are quite polished and final, with seemingly fully completed animations. This guy could not have been far from completion, though like mentioned earlier, the ones found in Garden Warfare 2 are slightly different. The bomb is thrown on the BFN character, for example, and isn't just used as an alternative ammunition. The run animation sees the gnome running on its stand, which has to be one of my favourite running animations. And the inclusion of a running animation definitely leaves the door open to the possibility of this guy being playable. Though it leaves me confused at the level of polish this gnome has, and the name gnome tag is, well, odd as well. This perhaps indicates that this guy did have its own game mode, instead of just being a playable character. Or perhaps tag is more literal and was added to simply identify the gnome in the game's code, and this guy was just to join the roster in regular multiplayer. However, watching leakers go from calling this guy leaked upcoming content to unused content is not only disheartening, but also snuffs out any closure we might have gotten on this guy's implementation. Right, now let's focus on that mod, shall we? The gun's jammed. This game mode honestly felt like a fever dream. First of all, calling it a game mode is technically incorrect. It's a crazy setting that turns all characters into gnomes, so this works across anything that can be accessed with private and solo play. So turf with gnomes is a thing now. The gnomes themselves have multiple looks, the standard gnome, Rux, and a fancy looking gnome. I just love how Rux is one of the models. They're like, mate, he's just had enough. He's like, screw scamming people, he says. All play the same, and it's completely random which one you get. So it's a cool variety thing, making sure entire matches don't look the same. Just goodbye. They are also complete with 3 unique abilities, which, as mentioned, mimic the ones found on the BFN gnome. A warp, a slam, and that bomb. There's that, so there's a bomb. Oh my Jesus. The gnome is also equipped with a gnome shooty gun, which fires blue energy in an arc. Oh yeah, let's go. And we're the BFN gnomes, so I can include this in my video. Look at... Is that Rux? Whatever PopCap planned to do with that original gnome tag character probably wasn't going to look exactly like this, on account of it being in Garden Warfare 2 and all, though the spirit is still here, and it's cool that we have a piece of content that would have otherwise been fantasy be something playable. Garden Warfare 2 is coming up on 7 years old. While its style lends itself well to age, there's always a lot of room for improvement. On top of that, 7 years is a long time to be playing around with the same things, and mixing things up even subtly could go a long way. Well, the mods we'll be looking at today, take that and run with it. So there's a couple things at play here. First and foremost, we have Garden Warfare 2 Replanted. This is the base and main component of what's going on here, and it's also what I'm going to be focusing on, although I couldn't help but use a couple of mods just to sell the idea of a remake. I'm using Vivid Warfare by Petrified Yeti, as well as a reshade preset uploaded to the Nexus by Evil Scorbunny, to create a more modern look, or at the very least to make the game look noticeably different and allowing the mind to do the rest. It's a story I'm trying to sell after all. Do I have any emotes? Oh yeah, the classic. With that preliminary context out of the way, what is Garden Warfare 2 Replanted? This mod completely overhauls the entire game, with the most prominent addition being the replacement of every variant bar the stock ones, all complete with their own custom models and they all look amazing. I couldn't guess how the Vampire Rose plays, but a Jade Rose surprised me. Okay, so it's literally like a Jade Cactus, but a rose. Well, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. The mod also comes along with 6 new classes, 4 of which have their own set of variants. Hovergo and Torchwood have variants, and even beneath all of that, the seemingly unchanged elements have not been left untouched at all. The already existing classes have been given new abilities. For example, the Imp now has a dash, and his gravity grenade now lowers gravity in a radius, rather than merely pulling enemies in. Arcane Enigma now only grants armor, but still allows you to attack. Korn and Citron have some BFN influences in their ability set, and whilst we're on the topic of Citron, his primary has been retooled to mimic the one shown in early Garden Warfare 2 promotional material. Is that just Zomboss? I will be the one to best him. I got him. As mentioned before, every variant here is different. There is not a single holdover from the vanilla experience, both in the literal sense and also in that no variant concepts were borrowed. And the creativity behind variants really helps you forget this fact. We have a Korn whose primary weapon is a shuck shot, and it's as fun as it sounds. The Korn creativity continues with medic cops. Upon some hits with your primary, you'll release a healing burst around you, a nice idea that brings healing to other classes without undermining the dedicated healers. Okay, what was that? The zombies side is a lot of robot inspiration in this mod, with Soldier, Engineer and All-Star getting a robot variant, and Robo-Zombie having additional variants, with the fire variant being a particular standout. Combustion Bot 1000. 10 quid says it sets things on fire. Well, I'll be. We also have a Robo Police Officer, which in universe makes a world of sense, because they're way more imposing than zombies and easy to mass produce. Come to think of it, I don't know why the zombies don't just leverage their extensive robotics arm more, but I guess it wouldn't be Plants vs Zombies then, would it? Oh man. SB got some pretty fun new additions, and I do like my SBs. Blazing Brains is a fun one. Oh my god. Soldier also got some very nice treatment in this mod, with one of the highest variant counts and some very fun concepts to match. The SWAT Soldier replaces his rocket jump with a riot shield, and we have that robot soldier we mentioned earlier with a very good looking design. We also have a Sheriff Soldier. So we've got a Zolver. But enough with the old. We have some very new, exciting classes to sink our teeth into, starting with a few oddballs such as Squash and Bean, though it's over to the zombies side that eyebrows are raised. Of course we've got the should have been a playable Robo-Zombie that's now playable. Oh. If you're keeping up with leaks and data mining, then this guy should be very familiar. The Gravedigger was a scrapped Garden Warfare 1 class, and the precursor to the Scientist class. The only piece of information we have for this guy is his appearance, the fact he would have spawned tombstones, which would have spawned zombies, and this hand grenade. Very fun play on words there, guys. Its eventual unfortunate fate was due to a lack of variant ideas, and I guess that makes sense. The Scientist does have an infinitely higher number of directions in which you could take the class, but in saying that, this mod managed variants just fine. First of all, let's take a look at the base variant itself, armed with a 3-barreled Grave shotgun. The Gravedigger fires a scatter shot of mini projectiles which each do 4 damage, though each scatter shot consists of a large quantity of pellets. Think Deadbeard's new weapon in BFN. The hand grenade idea isn't present, but the spawning of AI zombie tombstones has been translated. The Gravedigger instead enters a burrow-like ability, spawning 1 AI browncoat to go and fight. And before you get disappointed, we need only look at his variants. The Gravedigger's variant's got the biggest smiles out of me. The Tomb Raider is the variant I wish to focus on the most for this section, because take a look at this. Okay, what does that do? No way. Aside from being quite a potent variant in general, we have the original idea for this guy in 100% of its intended function. He spawns a tombstone which spawns coffin zombies, and excludes the burrow mechanic. This guy serves as the Gravedigger's toxic variant, and the Hovergoat and Torchwood have variants, and this mod took a stab at making the costumes found in the base game variants, to some very unique results. The Festive Rider costume has been given a weapon that shoots random elemental effects every time you shoot, fitting for the surprise nature of a present-themed character. Surprised the base game doesn't have anything like that, actually. It's such an easy idea. The Torchwood just got a laser. The Toxinator. Okay, okay, alright. So, what new classes do the plants get? It's far more interesting than it seems, especially the bean. The dark bean features a cool looking model as well as some fun shooting mechanics. Though I think I pretty much touched on everything I wanted to. Please go and check this mod out for yourself, it's fantastic. Links will be in the description for everything used to make this video. I've got any new zombies to raise? Oh, I'm glad I checked. Oh, it's perfect. Battle for Neighborville is a graveyard of unused content, and a large chunk of that content had a decent amount of progress. I've already covered the what is presumed Gnome game mode in another video, though I would consider that the tip of the iceberg. There's quite a lot more interesting things to comb through, so let's get started on all that in this video with a look at the Iceberg lettuce. A character that was seemingly always around the corner, this guy was basically done and dusted if leaks were anything to go by. Even things like the upgrade data was present, but yeah, that'll do it. Okay, we've got actual abilities here. I don't know what that just did. It's one of those edge cases where this isn't a scrapped idea or an unused concept that would have been cool. No, we almost got this, making this a little bit more disheartening. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the Iceberg lettuce because it's just another one of those weird oddities, you know? Oh, that was a close one. This guy was so close that another plant character was starting to be pieced together already. Although that's enough of that, as at least we have something tangible to play. What? Great, thanks. So let's see what that tangible thing entails. Let's have a look at Garden Warfare 2 Replanted's version of the Iceberg lettuce and see what it has to offer, and how close it is to the one we would have gotten. First of all, I want to run through the original version of this character, or at the very least what modders and data miners were able to piece together. This character was to be the BFN Ice character, something I forgot was a big deal, but from what was shown by modders, this character was to take full advantage of that fact, and to continue the groundwork laid by those Garden Warfare 2 Ice variants. Oh my goodness. No. Okay. Iceberg's primary was to be a scattershot of ice that would have left lingering icicles that would have exploded after a few seconds. From what I gathered, this was to act very similar to Jade Cactus. Gestures. Okay. The character was to feature a shield and 200 HP, leaving me to believe this character was to be a defense one for the plants. The Iceberg lettuce also featured an ability that would freeze enemies and launch you backwards as it happens, shooting out a chili pepper to do the freezing. The final ability is a snowball that does damage and freezes, and that's about what I can really decipher. Early alpha gameplay of this guy shows a snowball that improves over the course of a fight, though nowhere is sure what that entails. I vanquished the Gravedigger. Is that really all it says? So that's the version we're unable to play. What about that playable one then? Obviously this isn't a kind of direct translation. We're in Garden Warfare 2 first of all. So there's no sprint and, the abilities aren't the same. But I'm sure that'll be all covered in the voiceover. It's a fair effort on the part of the mod dev. Most of the changes were the essential ones in order to get this character to work in Garden Warfare 2. No. Freeze. Okay, why do you keep cancelling your missile madness? What's going on there? Get back here. Okay, you're doing it that time, alright. The shield didn't get translated though. However, this is among other nitpicks that don't detract from the fact this guy is basically the character one-to-one. But that was the Garden Warfare 2 replanted version of Iceberg lettuce, and be interesting to see how it stacks up with what could have been. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching this, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Ah!
wanted to see that goat's face get melted off, didn't you? It's fine, it's a safe space. The final to Garden Warfare 2 gave us pretty decent rewards, 2 new classes. The characters by themselves were already pretty fun and worth the effort. I can remember Torchwood in particular being busted as all hell when he came out, though when it comes to Garden Warfare classes, where there's a class, there's a variant. Or multiple variants for that matter. So when photos of what we figured were variants started hitting the scene, I was pretty excited. We had this green toxic one, a gingerbread house, Aladdin, and hold up. From what I recall, it was only snippets of images, and there was a huge debate between what these were. Turns out they were costumes. Something no one had really guessed, because it's something that didn't really exist. I've done it. I've gone and done it. I knew. Oh, Merry Christmas, said PopCap, to those who unlocked the characters by hand. Here's 2 free outfits. I happened to get the Christmas ones and kind of figured that everyone got the Christmas ones, and the rest would be slowly trickled out through rugs. I mean, outfits are a cool idea, they spice up the characters a bit. I mean, BFN took the idea and ran with it, but we're still months off that in the timeline. But yeah, no, I just love the way the gingerbread house moves. Maybe it looks the same on the others, but it's definitely accentuated on this guy. Like, wherever he's going, he needs to get there, and quick. But okay, if these were just costumes, what gives? Well, I mean, the costumes are worth mentioning as they no doubt planted the seed that was to lead to the community-made variants, but also because they lead me nicely into our first category of variants, the costume repurposing. It's as it suggests. The costumes were taken and given unique weapons, usually themed around the costume, which is what I was getting at by being the cause for inspiration. I just thought I'd let one go, you know. I just wanted to get in there. To start this category off, I want to talk about my favourite one of these, Replanted's Festive Rider. I single out this variant first as I like how the weapon relates to the costume. The Festive Rider randomly shoots one of the elemental effects every time you pull the trigger. The idea of a random or mystery element fits well with the present idea of the costume. You don't know what's in those wrapped up boxes. Also, having a variant with all the elemental effects is fun and something that there's a surprising lack of. Come on, Robo Zombie. This mod's other reimagined offering is the TX1000, repurposed as a toxic variant. Which, after hearing those things together, it's hard to think of any other way to make this costume a variant. I'm assuming I wasn't the only one thinking that, as the other TX1000 variant I found is also a toxic variant. Dare I say more satisfying to use? I did it. I had to do it. I wonder how many times I've done this video. Just a compilation of me using Blazing Blast, just to see how many times I do it. Oh no. Reaching level 4 was a mistake. The game crashed. This speaks to the idea that the costume really does inform the variant here, to a deeper degree than I originally thought. My biggest question going into this was, how would they adapt this? The house on legs, the largest moving thing in the goddamn game. Missing it would be cause for embarrassment for sure. The answer is sugar, which makes more sense now that I've had those things together. Oh, it's got one cob different from the other. I didn't know it could be customized to that level as well. Like, I'm sure, mix and matching the tops and bottom of heads. Like, I'm already over that. But now we're changing the individual cobs. Like, my mind's gonna need a second. I'm gonna have to rearrange some neurons for that one. Jumping over to the goat side, we have the Wishmaker goat. Much like a park ranger or an alien flower, this guy shoots a mist that lingers a bit, dealing damage to whoever walks into it. Though unlike those characters, that mist also heals teammates. This variant in particular lit something up in my brain. The variant perfectly takes the costume and adds a good spin to it with some creative flair. Sometimes I am reminded just how much of a shame it is that these things aren't actually in the game and I can't just jump into a multiplayer match. Kind of defeats the point of the video using that, doesn't it? The Festive Rider of this mod takes the approach I feel most would, and made it an ice variant. This experience did clue me into how much power this concept has in execution. Oh, that has just kind of clued me into the fact that an ice goat would have been pretty broken if you could have just gone around doing that. So this leads me on to the second type of variant, the completely brand new one, also known as just a regular variant. Just seeing how the mod devs change up these classes is interesting. The weapons, theming and look are all a joy to discover and play around with, which leads us to We're here again. Beyond looking like something out of your nightmares, this guy is a legendary variant that fills its meter by collecting souls. This guy looks and plays the part. A zombie killed by his hands will drop a soul that will despawn if not collected quickly. Surprised the zombies even have souls. Once enough souls has been harvested, soul power will give you the standard legendary meter bonus things, such as additional damage. The goat legendary is inspired by fast. Getting enough kills will enter you into your final lap, with speed being the focus. Oh, I'm in final lap. I don't know what this does though. Oh, just more damage. Oh, I'm rapid as well. Oh my god. Oh. The design of this hover goat is also pretty good. I mean, the designs for all of these variants are good, so it just goes without saying, but I thought I'd mention it here. Alright, I appear to be jumping around a bit. Let's peel it back a bit. Just a goat. Bling goat. Love a goat. Just a goat. I like this one. The goat in its most humble of forms. Manual detonation though makes him a wolf in goat's clothes. The theming of this goat in particular I find very fun, and also tying in this universe's only other animal apparently to create a reason for manual detonation to exist I also find to be creative. We go from humble beginnings to the king of bling. The aptly named Bling Goat. This guy is all form, no function. This goat has quite the killing potential as well as a bonus. Turns plants into turrets upon death. Golden Gatlings. Sorry. The appearance is just a blinged up version of the regular goat, which I enjoy. Back on nature's side, we have just a big stump. Saying just a big stump does a disservice to the pure, unfiltered joy I felt playing this variant. Oh my god, come here. Oh my god, murdered. Bosh. Oh my god. The impact. It might be a boss miniaturized, but I had the most fun running around with this character. There's something so simple yet so satisfying about launching zombies. The Withered Bark doesn't use that tiny gun to fight. That's just there to make sense of the smouldering madness this variant has access to. No, this variant has Blazing Blast as its main weapon. It's a little downgraded, but that gets the point across. Also, look at this model. Fantastic. I love how this one tells a story as to why it's called the Withered Bark, and what effect that had on what I can only assume was an original Torchwood. An ice Torchwood makes you look like a snowman. I mean, we have a walking tree, a walking house, so this seems tame in comparison. That does make me think though, I wonder how weird any of this would be to someone who's never touched these games before.